How's it going, guys and goddesses? This is Diakara, back at you, doing a heavy duty sun gazing. That methylene blue really works pretty good. You know, I'm not slurring my words after sun gazing, even though I still feel that electromagnetism sitting right here in my mouth, should I say. But that's it. We have an exorcism epidemic. We have a spirit takeover, especially in all governments, which is why you can't trust no government. We have body snatched Trump, but it looks like Trump has been compromised. So someone has body snatched Trump. They're doing some kind of ritual or whatever the hell, but Trump has been compromised, and unless we can get his ass back under control, you know, these demons have re-sieged Trump. So we're gonna get into that. But this whole Jeffrey Epstein situation, you know, this is all about blood drinking, adrenochrome, reptilians, or whatever the hell you want to call them, demons, whatever the fuck you want to call them. These are the motherfuckers that have been running the earth. And it's these reptilians who actually make up the Elohim, who are invaders to this earth. And someone back in the day, one of the guys back in the day, one of our Bantu descendants, opened up a gateway, allowed these motherfuckers in, allowed them to take part of this realm, and as a result, they come in through a gateway, enslave us, and had us in slavery for, according to what's being written, if you can trust that, it's been well over 500,000 years that black people on this planet have been enslaved by this demon who poses as Yahweh, but through genetic engineering. And you can look at that Osiris, Isis, Horus, which is nothing but genetic engineering, by the way. It's the energy of Osiris impregnated into the energy of Isis. Isis represents the black race. Osiris is an energy that they used to basically create Horus, which is your mankind, which was genetically altered, which is why you got your different races on the planet. And then you have the coming together of all these different bloodlines. Osiris represents a quasar. Set represents a quasar. The energy of those quasars is what makes the orbs. The orbs are actually souls. And what we are is a soul orb housed into a physical body, housed into a construct called the human body. So, you know, through genetic engineering, they took this construct, merged it in with insects, and created all your terrestrial animals on the planet. Terrestrial animal is basically a combination of human genetic crossed in with insect, which is why you get your birds, your bats, you know, which are, you know, like your turtles are basically endoskeleton entities, but you're also exoskeletons. So that tells you the endoskeleton comes from it being part human, and the exoskeleton comes from it being part insect. And as a result of that, you get your Atacama humanoid. And it's these Elohim, you know, that basically enslaved us, took our genetics, created different races of people. We rebelled against them during the Tower of Babel. That was humanity teaming up against Yahweh, which is basically a reptilian. And that's who Donald Trump, that's who Netanyahu, the Israelites, that's who they're protecting. They're protecting Enlil Yahweh. And they're the children. They're, you know, you read Old Testament, God's chosen people is the Ashkenazi. It is the white race. They're God's chosen people. And next in line is the Asian, the East Indian, you know, your Aboriginals. And last on the totem pole is your African, because you are the original human who rebelled against this fucked up system. So you've been imprisoned on this earth for the past 500,000 years. And through your genetics, they created the white race, the Asian race, the East Indian, and God, who created God of the Old Testament, who is basically a fucking reptilian, created these different races and gave them authority over your black ass, which is why your black ass sitting at the goddamn bottom on earth. But that's where a nigga like me comes in to change that shit. You know, we need an exorcism of planet Earth. So, you know, you got to start with yourself. You got to exercise the demon within you, because we all been infected. They got you through your genetic code, and they manipulate that. So the way you correct your genetic code, once again, go outside barefoot, stare into the sun. You got to learn how to mix electrons and all that. But we're not going to get into that. That's Alchemy 101. So we're going to get into what you're actually up against and what you're actually got, what you actually have to exercise, the demon that you have to exercise off this planet. Okay, this all gets tied in with your Jeffrey Epstein. This is why Trump, whose whole administration is basically run by these fucking reptilian demonoids. Is Trump one of them? You know, Trump is a construct. He's a clone type. And you can basically hijack his spirit, and you can basically body snatch Trump and use him to do your bidding. But that gets into knowing how to invade. You know, basically, it's kind of like the movie Avatar, where they can inject your spirit into a clone, and you walk around as that clone. Well, Trump is a clone, and we can take certain spirits, channel the energy into Trump, and body snatch him. But you know, the reptilians have the same fucking, these reptilian demons have the same fucking technology. And, you know, they, from what I gather, they managed to re-hijack Trump and get control of him. But, you know, we have to body snatch Trump back under our control, back under MAGA, NAGA control. Because right now, he's off the reservation. Got that MAGA Nagas? Trump is off the reservation, and he's not going to go after the people behind the Jeffrey Epstein list, which are basically fucking these reptilian demonoids that fucking victimize children, torture them, drink their blood. I mean, most of y'all brothers and sisters, y'all pretty much know the story on this shit. But, you know, we're going to break down the evidence, you know, as to why, you know, media isn't going after Trump to begin with, where these, you know, usually, you know, like they would try to sabotage Trump. You know, one of the first means to sabotage him, if he actually was on the Epstein list, they'd be using that Epstein list against Trump. So that tells me Trump's not actually on the Epstein list, but he's covering up because they hijacked Trump. So this is a spiritual hijacking, spiritual takeover of Donald Trump, and we have to basically get re-control of that, or we have to exorcise this demon off the fucking planet. But before we get into methods on how to get rid of this goddamn demon, it's all based around frequency, altering the frequency. That's pretty much it, man. You change the frequency, you know, you change the earth, man. You know, it's based on electromagnetism, and we're going to kind of get into that, and we shall continue. Okay, we'll get into this. Here we go. Okay, light is how these demons operate. Okay, the problem with us as humans in our current physical construct is we can only see within the visible light spectrum. Hold on, let's kind of get into that. Hold on, man. Okay, the problem that we have as human beings is we only see within the visible light spectrum right here. Okay, anything outside of visible light, like an ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma ray, we can't see. Infrared, microwave, radio waves, we cannot see. We can only witness things that operate within the visible light spectrum. Anything in existence outside of the visible light spectrum, you're not going to see, nor are you even going to be aware that they even exist, even though it's all around you. Okay? So certain frequencies, okay, you as a human being operate at a certain frequency. Now, in order for a demon to latch onto you, it has to resonate with your frequency. So either you're going to have to come down to the level of the demon, or the demon's going to have to come up to your level in order for it to invade you. It's kind of like when you talk to somebody, when you talk to a common person, the people that you're going to like are people that are most like you. Meaning that people that operate on your resonance and on your frequency. If you notice, people get along with people that are more genetically like them. So they can resonate. Okay. Now, people who have multiple bloodlines can resonate with multiple different types of people. They can resonate with a wider range of people. But people that are like more tied in with their own genetic construct, they generally tend to want to be around people that are similar to them. Like Asians want to be around Asians, white people want to be around white people, black people want to be around black people, Native American Indians want to be around other Native American Indians, so on and so forth. And the reason why they're drawn, because people like to be around people that are like them. Okay? People that think like you, act like you, behave like you, you're going to have more tendency to like than people that don't act like you or behave like you or think like you. So that's what you're dealing with here. Okay. Now, in order for a demon to latch onto you, it has to resonate. Okay. Either your genetics has to be altered to the point to where this demon can latch onto you, or this demon is going to have to come down to a certain level to where it can resonate with you to latch onto you. Either way it goes, okay, there has to be some form of resonance. Okay, resonance is the key. What are you resonating with? What type of people do you resonate with? Do you like to, if you're a type of person that's drawn to prostitutes and hookers, you have to question yourself. If you're a woman that's drawn to thugs, okay, you have to question yourself. Because what it is reptilians have a sexual nature, and they can manipulate you through through sexuality. So women, people who are highly sexual, can be easily manipulated or invaded, and they get you through Kundalini, through your lower chakras. A lot of demons can get you that way and latch onto you. But a lot of these demons, they feed on sexual energy, they feed on pain, they feed on negativity, low vibration. So, the key is you got to stay away from these low vibratory rates. Stay out of, keep your resonance at a high resonance to where certain energies can't resonate with you. Certain demonic energies won't be able to resonate with you, and they can't take you over. Now, how can they take you over? Okay, if you're doing drugs, if you're doing alcohol, if you watch a lot of pornography, you do a lot of ejaculation, men, sleep around with a bunch of whores, ejaculate your seed. See, this lowers your vibration and opens you up to be invaded, which is why you see people like Jeffrey Epstein, Diddy, people like that. See, they're catering to demons, demonic forces. And that's the reason why, they do a lot of the sadomasochism, sex shit. Okay, to get you in a high sexual state, which gets your hormones going. And these demons will come in and feed off that energy. See what I'm saying? So once they feed off your energy, you got a lot of these energy vampires. The reason why they're energy vampires is because they got a demonic entity that's latched on to them, that's controlling them, and they got to feed. So these people come around people that got certain energies. They come around, want to be in their company. And, you get around these type of people and all of a sudden you feel drained and tired. These people just drain and make you tired. It's because they're feeding on your energy. They got a spirit, a demon on them that's feeding on you, which is why you're feeling drained. And, these people wouldn't come around you unless they can felt some sort of comfort around you, or unless they can resonate with you. So it's who you resonate with, what you resonate with, and what sets your resonance. Okay, it's the food you eat can set your resonance. Drugs, alcohol, sexuality, engaging in destructive sexual practices, set your frequency. Eating genetically modified foods, things of that sort, drugs, watching violent movies, the music, okay, at 440 hertz, programs your genetic code through cymatic frequencies. So there's a myriad of ways they can get you, okay? And you got to stay out of these traps. Now, see me, I channel, I allow myself to get open, allow myself to be invaded by these spirits because, they know you might want something, or like for me, I wanted to learn how to do free electricity, free energy, okay? And I knew those spirits that were part of the construct of building the Great Pyramid are still out here. You just got to know how to contact them. But the thing about it is, you put the energy out. There's certain resonance out to where these type of spirits can come resonate with you, and then you can allow them to come in, and then they access your genetic code, access your mind, and then you can download what they know into your mind. But you got to allow these spirits to possess you in order to do such a thing. So I allowed myself to be possessed. I learned how to build this free energy device. Yeah, see, once I got the information on how to build this free energy device, the spirit came in. I downloaded the information, but what I noticed was this spirit wasn't leaving. It was making itself at home. That energy was trying to control and manipulate me and take me over. So I had to learn how to do an exorcism and evict the spirit out of myself. I did that with sound frequencies. I did that through sun gazing. I did that through fasting. Also did a lot of this, not just through sun gazing fasting. I learned how to cook up electrums. Electrums is the key, because that boosts up your electromagnetism and that will change your frequency. But you gotta know how to mix herbs, mix your foods, know what elements make up your foods, and understand the electronegativity chart. And I have a book called the Bioelectric Cookbook, breaking all this down. I'm almost done with it. Like I said, I have to break down the herbs. I have to break down ormus. I have to break down how to mix electrums, what elements to use. Excuse me. What elements to use. You take this stuff, mix it in with a Dr. Sebi smoothie, boost your electric field up. And, man, that, after you fast for about a week or two and just take smoothies and electrums, go on a smoothie electrum fast, man, you can cure practically every disease and evict any demon out of your system. But it's a combination of sun gazing, electrums, fasting, frequency, changing the sound frequencies, basically 432 hertz, what is it, 5, 8, 13, 5, 8 is 13, 582, 580 frequency, like 582, which is a 15, 1 plus 5 is 6, that's a 6 frequency. So you want your frequencies to be 369 frequencies, man. Those work pretty good at evicting spirits out. Each one of your chakras operates at a certain frequency, and you can do a chakra cleanse with sound frequencies. Hold on, man. Let's kind of walk over that. Okay, right here. These are some of your chakra frequencies. Okay, the 7 chakras. Okay, you got 963, which is a 9 frequency. You got 852, which is a 6 frequency. You got 741, which is 1112. That's a 3 frequency. 639 is a 9 frequency. 523. Okay, that's 528. 1015. That's a 6 frequency. 417. 812 is a 3 frequency, and 396 is a 9 frequency. So your chakras is a 9, 3, 6, 9. So you got 9, which is your lower chakra, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. Okay? So you use 3, 6, 9 frequencies to basically fix the resonance of your chakras. And once you can change the resonance of your chakras, change the resonance of how your cells vibrate, Once you change that resonance, you can evict the demon out of you. You can cure any disease. Okay? But you got to give yourself, you got to understand how to basically cook up electrons, mix them together, mix herbs. You got to know how to mix your foods, put what foods go with what foods to generate electricity, to generate more charge, which is more amperage in your body, which gives you your power, your strength. Electricity gives you your energy. Amperage gives you your power. And amps times volts is, that's your watts. So you want to boost your wattage, your overall wattage of your body. That's all based around frequency. Once you can change your frequency, you can evict any demon out of you, because these low vibrational entities cannot stand high frequency. Okay? When you resonate high frequency, they cannot latch onto you. And the type of people that operate on low resonance, I noticed from taking these electrons, I notice assholes, the people who are normally assholes when they come around me, they start treating me nice. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that that demon that makes them an asshole, that's lashed onto them, can't be in my energy field. I mean, they jump out of this person, and this person goes back to being how they're supposed to be, which is a decent human being. But, once they get out of my field, that demon's lurking right on the outside, jumps them. You know what I'm saying? And, they go back to being the typical asshole to everybody else that they can resonate on that level. Okay? And see, that's how you body snatch. Okay? Understanding energy, understanding how to direct energy is how you can evict spirits, and it's also how you can body snatch a person, which is what we did to Trump. Body snatch that motherfucker. And we can control him through the spirit that we lashed onto him. We can basically run him. But, obviously these reptilians have came in, body snatched Trump, and now Trump's back on their fucking agenda, doing their bullshit. Okay? So, this is a spirit war, people. And basically these fucking reptilians, these demons, run the earth. They run every government on the planet. Okay? They're the ones, Yahweh, reptilian, is the one that use light to genetically alter us and create these different races, create these animal forms, created, practically every domestic, terrestrial animal on the planet was created by the Elohim. The only thing that they didn't create, the only living entity that the Elohim actually did not create was created by the creator of the universe, are insects. Insects are the purest life forms, and the black man, black woman is the purest life forms on the planet. And before we started eating plants and vegetables and meat, okay, we were able to feed directly from the light. Okay, and that's what we have to get back into, is resonating with the light, which is the sun. Go outside, barefoot, staring to the sun. The sun is an orb of light that spirals around the Milky Way galaxy, which is basically a vortex, and in the center of the vortex is the Eye of Ra, is the unseen God, Amun-Ra, and that's the true God of the universe. Yahweh is not the God of the fucking universe. Yahweh is a fucking reptilian fucking asshole, just like Elohim or reptilians. And, we come from, as pure black people, because I'm not a pure black person. Because on the slave plantations, my great-great-grandmother got raped. And as a result of that, you get a nigga like me. And, I call myself a day walker. And I know how to beat these motherfuckers, okay? You as a more purebred black person, you're spiritually on a spiritual level, in terms of spirituality, you're supreme. But in terms of technology, on a technical level, no. This white man is superior to you in that regard, man. So fortunately for me, I know how to. I can do the spirituality, and I can do the technology. So we have to get back into technology. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that you got to be a balance between spirituality and technology in order to take down this beast, that these reptilians that fucking run the planet. See, they have to feed on your energy in order for them to survive, because Amun Ra, true God of the universe, cut them off, so they can't feed off the energy that's being spewed out of the center of the galaxy, spewed out of the black hole, which feeds the sun, which feeds the earth. See, that energy is hitting the earth, and these reptilians got to do more child sacrifice. They got to do more, more of these rituals in order to keep their form, so they don't shapeshift into a fucking demon. Okay? To these reptilians, they're trying to hold their form, and they're about to lose their forms, which is why they want to start these wars. These wars, all the carnage and stuff like that, they feed off their energy. That helps keep them formed. All the while, they reduce the world population down. So when the energy gets too strong from the center of the galaxy and they can't hold their form anymore and they have to walk around as that goddamn reptilian, you as humanity won't have the numbers against them to defeat them. See? Okay? They'll have the population down to where they want it, and you're just going to be nothing but a fucking food supply for these motherfuckers. You're going to be slaves and their fucking food supply. Okay? So we're going to break this down, man, and we shall continue. We're going to get into the evidence that, the shit I'm talking about ain't fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking facts. And we're going to break this shit down. We shall continue. Okay, it tells you right here, and they admit this shit. See, this is spirit possession. This is body snatching. This is how you do it, people. Okay, see, while DNA doesn't hold light in the way a container holds water, it can't interact with light and even emit light under certain conditions. DNA can absorb and emit light, and this process can be used for imaging and even manipulating DNA itself. And this is how these demons get you. They come in as waves of energy, waves of light, okay, at a different frequency. See, we're light beings, but we're at a slow vibration. And it all comes down to your resonance. And, some people talk fast, move fast, walk fast, and some people are real slow and they take it easy and, I'm just kind of chill. You know what I'm saying? So people that talk fast, move fast, are not going to vibrate with people who are laid back, slow, chill, want to take their good old sweet time. Not going to resonate. Two different energy frequencies, okay? See, it tells you right here, absorption of the light. Okay, DNA absorbs certain wavelengths of light, particularly in the ultraviolet UV range. All right? This absorption can lead to changes in the DNA molecule, including damage. Okay, they call it damage, but these changes can also alter your genetics. And this leads into how these demons shapeshift. How a person can look like a human and then split second later look like a fucking reptile. Okay? Because that reptile, that demon, operates at a different light frequency. And when it evades you, okay, it absorbs into your DNA pretty much. And from there, it can control your programming. You can take over your programming, hijack your program. It's like a virus inside of a computer. Make your computer glitch up or whatever the case is. Okay, that's how these demons operate, man. They operate as a virus invading you. Okay, they're like a conscious virus. Okay, this absorption can lead to changes in the DNA molecule, including damage. They talk about changes in DNA molecule, which is absolutely true, which is how you can look like a human and your DNA gets changed, and all of a sudden you look like a fucking reptilian. All right. Okay. Some molecules, like, I can't pronounce that word, alkylacobalamines, can be activated by visible light to cause DNA damage, which is useful for studying DNA structure and interactions. Okay. Light activated DNA manipulation. Here we go. Researchers have developed methods to manipulate DNA using light, such as bending DNA strands or controlling gene expression, which is what happens when a motherfucker shapeshifts. That demons comes in, latches onto your DNA, latches onto your genetic code, manipulates it, and bends the light energy, the resonance, changes the resonance basically, and it goes from looking like a human into a fucking demon. All right. For example, light can be used to trigger the formation of liquid light droplets within a cell, which can then be used to physically reposition DNA sequences. According to a study from Princeton University, light-activated CRISPR-Cas9 systems also exist. See, CRISPR-Cas9 is genetic engineering, but they cross genes, which is what's going on with this demon possession, shape-shifting, okay? Your genes are being manipulated, merged with a demon, and you can actually transform into that demon or become a mixture of the demon and the human, okay? Which is what a lot of Caucasians, their genetics have been manipulated to house demons, man. Not saying that Caucasians are bad people, but they were genetically engineered by this reptilian so that reptilian can come in and invade it spiritually. See, it's easier for a reptilian to invade a white person than it is to invade someone black. But even though they can invade you if you're black, and only way you can be invaded by a reptilian is if through your music, through the food, through the drugs, alcohol, sleeping with whores. That's how they get black people. Through the fucking music. 440 hertz. They got your ass through the goddamn music. They control your ass with the fucking music. Y'all motherfuckers are hooked on that bullshit ass rap. Today's rap is bullshit. All right? It's all mind programming. It's all designed to set the frequency for you to be invaded by these fucking demonic entities. Okay? While not typically thought of as fluorescent, DNA can exhibit fluorescence under specific conditions. Researchers have discovered that DNA can blink when exposed to light, meaning it emits a brief burst of light after being stimulated. And see right there, the emission of light, your DNA can do, okay, you have to set your DNA up to where you can emit the light out of you, which is basically how you evict a demon out of you. Okay, your DNA has to be able to emit that light, and like I said, fasting, taking electrons. Okay, that stores enough electricity in your body to where you can boost. See, that emission of light is fucking basically taking the demon off of you. But we're gonna kind of get into that, man. Okay, the ultra weak photon emission. Okay, some studies suggest that DNA can emit ultra weak photon emissions even at physiological temperatures. This emission may be related to temperature-induced entropy fluctuations and fractal dimension oscillations within the DNA. See, oscillation means frequency, resonance, oscillation, resonance. Okay, your DNA has to resonate at a certain oscillation, certain frequency in order for you to resonate with a fucking demon and be invaded. Okay, so resonance, people. Okay, your DNA has to oscillate at a certain resonance. And how you set the resonance, okay, the type of food you eat, the music you listen to, the frequency of the music you listen to, electrons, things, sun gazing, sets your resonance. All right? Protects you. And this is the keys to how you get rid of the fucking demon off this fucking planet. Everybody that's watching this video, you got to change your resonance. And then the people around you, you'll be affecting their resonance. And it dominoes. Okay? Dominoes from one person to the next. And the dominoes to these people got them fucking demonic entities on them. If everybody's resonating at a high frequency, see, you're creating a shroud around the demon. So that demon can no longer be in the field. But because they got most people corrupted through the food supply, through the pharmaceuticals, they got the majority of people corrupted. This demon's able to still walk around and exist. But if you can get these people healed, get their frequency and vibration up, get their resonance corrected, okay, this demon cannot exist on this planet. Okay? So you gotta learn how to exercise the demon off yourself, basically, and then teach the next person how to do the same thing. Teach the next person, spread this thing out. And if everybody is on electrons, everybody is eating Dr. Sebi, Dr. Sebi type foods, mixed in with the electrons, mixed in with the proper frequency when you listen to music. Okay? You're resonating, you're setting oscillation for your cells. People out here sun gazing. We get everybody to do these things, okay? You get enough of us, okay, we can evict the demon off. We can evict these fucking reptilians off the goddamn planet. Okay? And plus, once you learn Kundalini and how to spin a side wheel with your mind, you can practically open up a vortex and evict these motherfuckers out. But you cannot do you can't do what I'm telling you right now, the Kundalini with the mirrors, the sound frequencies, because you can tear your fucking house up. So you gotta, I'm still kind of researching in that. I'm not going to get into too many details on how to open up the vortex, but that vortex will clear demons out, clear out a whole goddamn neighborhood. But at the same time, it can fuck your house up, destroy your damn house, which is what I went through, which is why I'm sitting here, practically rebuilding my whole house, man, because I had opened up a vortex in here. But long story. I'm not going to get into that, man. But, hey, man, that's a super weapon, man. You know how I open a vortex? You get these demons the fuck up on out of here, and we're going to kind of get into that. But, yeah, this is how spirit possession is basically the manipulation of your genetic code, because your DNA holds light, man, as it breaks down right here, man. Okay, we're going to continue on. All right, electromagnetism and paranormal phenomenon. Okay, electromagnetism, which is light, which is a frequency of light, may be implicated in reports of seemingly paranormal phenomenon. Some researchers believe it is also thought by some to play a role in the appearance of ghosts and spirits, and electromagnetism detection devices are popular among ghost hunters. So ghost spirits are electromagnetic. All right. So they travel as electromagnetism. All right. And this electromagnetism has an effect on your DNA. All right. Exposure to certain electromagnetic frequencies, resonance, has been proposed as a factor in paranormal experiences with a sensory component, such as seeing apparitions, hearing sounds, or being touched. It has also been suggested that electromagnetic fields that interact with structures, appliances, or naturally occurring magnetic fields may produce seemingly paranormal phenomena, including object movement, light anomalies, temperature changes, and psychokinetic poltergeist effects. Studies have been made to explore these possibilities. So through the electromagnetic frequency is how these ghosts can appear in the visible light spectrum. Okay, so let's get into how these same ghosts can invade your DNA, house itself in your body, within your DNA, and then shapeshift as this, you're a human being, and shapeshift into a fucking demon or a reptilian. All right, we're gonna kind of get into that. Okay, now we get into photons. All right, now photons, these scientists say they don't have an image of a photon, but I can pretty much assure you that a photon is practically a microscale orb of light. And these microscale orbs on the orb will spiral around your DNA, which acts as a vortex. Your DNA is practically a vortex spiral. So it's a gateway for you, is what these demons use as a gateway to enter you, to invade you, is your DNA, which is a vortex spiral. Okay? And just like the black hole that sits in the middle of the galaxy, orbs come out of that black hole and they form your stars. Stars emit photons, which are minuscule orbs of light. And these orbs are conscious entities. Okay? They also make up your electrons, and everything that you see in existence pretty much is made up of photons, which is basically electrons, protons. Electron, protons, basically part of the Ouroboros. You got positive, negative, and you got negative to positive, and they merge and they form a vortex funnel. And through this vortex funnel, orbs of light can come in. And the first thing these orbs of light are looking to do is looking for a host, is looking for a body. Okay, and this gets into your DNA phantom effect, which is basically demon invasion. Okay, Yes, photons are electromagnetic. They are the elementary particles that make up all forms of electromagnetic radiation, including light, radio waves, and X-rays, which human beings cannot see. We cannot see radio waves and we cannot see X-rays with the naked eye. We can only see in the visible light spectrum. So what's out here invading humanity, which is why they push all this fentanyl and all this other bullshit, because that's part of their demonic invasion, where they're body snatching people by using the drug trade to body snatch you. And this is a demon invasion of the earth, and they allow those demons to come in through the vortex portals that CERN opens up, the CERN Hadron Collider. All right, here we go. The elementary particles that make up all forms of electromagnetic radiation, including light, radio waves, and X-rays. Photons are considered the quantum or smallest discrete units of electromagnetic radiation and are massless. Okay, chargeless particles that travel at the speed of light. They exhibit wave-particle duality, meaning they behave both as a wave and particles. All right. Okay, this gets into your phantom effect. And right here, they're going to explain what the phantom effect is. Here we go.
In a groundbreaking experiment, scientists Poponin and Garyaev explored how DNA influences light particles or photons in a vacuum tube. Initially, as expected, photons were scattered randomly inside the empty tube. However, upon introducing human DNA, the photons organized into distinct patterns, defying conventional physics. Even more astonishing, when the DNA was removed, the photons remained ordered, suggesting a lingering, unseen influence. This phenomenon, that was named as the DNA phantom effect, hinted at an unknown energy field linking DNA to photons. The findings imply a profound connection between living material and the fundamental particles of our universe. Poponin's work suggests that our DNA can shape the very fabric of reality, offering a glimpse into a mysterious new force at play. This revelation opens the door to a deeper understanding of how life interacts with the energy around us, transforming both science and spirituality.
All right, as you can see, these photons, which are orbs, little tiny orbs, spiral around your DNA. This is how spirit energy, this is how demons can manifest from the spirit realm into your DNA and take form, okay? And then become you, which is how you get into shape-shifting and all these other anomalies that science says is just some bullshit, which is, I know is a fact. It's a fact, all right? Now we're going to get into how all this ties in with Donald Trump and how we can body snatch Trump and how Trump can be re-body snatched. You know, it's kind of like a spirit. It's like I control a certain spirit. I can latch that spirit onto you and practically control you. Okay. In science terms, they call this mind control, MK Ultra, but really what it is demon invasion. Okay, I got this demon that I control. I'm going to put it on the person that I want to control and use the demon to control the person. And then I can dictate policy.
Imagine removing a strand of DNA.
I can dictate policy. All right, let's kind of go through this here.
From a sealed chamber. And yet somehow the shape of the DNA still lingers, invisible but detectable. This isn't science fiction. It's a real experiment from Russia. And it left scientists speechless. It's called the DNA phantom effect, a phenomenon that suggests something is left behind even after the DNA itself is gone. Is it residual energy? A ghost of life? Let's unravel the experiment that shook the foundations of biology.
So they call it the phantom effect, the ghost of life. Yeah, because that's, you know, this is how these reptilians invade you and can shapeshift within your physical means, man. So, you know, to make a long story short, but, you know, we have to go investigate exactly what a photon, because they claiming they use mathematics to...
And physics.
Hold on.
In the 1980s...
They claim to use mathematics to determine what a photon actually looks like. They claim they never seen a photon before, and I believe they never seen a photon before because, you know, I don't think they have the tools to actually measure a photon. But if we were to actually see what a photon looked like, I can damn near guarantee it's an orb of light. It's a little minuscule orb, and they are conscious. And if low vibrational photons, demonic photons, that act like viruses, whatever the case is, if they can invade you,
in a groundbreaking experiment,
they can evade you. They can form into an aberration, into a demon, and can basically invade you, man. And you'll shapeshift into that demon. Okay, and we already know that this is the case because they can do genetic modification using light. And we're gonna break into that. Here, right here, it tells you in this video.
A single photon.
Scientists reveal the shape of a photon, and there it is right there. It looks like an eye, orb of light. Okay, these photons are conscious entities. Here we go.
The smallest particle of light now has a face. For decades, photons were thought to be untouchable, invisible mysteries. But researchers have done the impossible. Using ultra-precise lasers and cutting-edge quantum technology, they managed to map the shape of a single photon. The result? A wave-like pattern, almost like ripples frozen in time. This discovery opens new doors in physics and could transform technologies like quantum computing and secure communication. Light is no longer just a wave or particle. It's now a shape. A single photon.
And this is what they're saying the photon actually looks like. Okay, to me, that's a fucking orb. All right, orbs. Okay, and we know orbs come through the vortex. You know, the sun is, if you stare into the sun, you know it spirals like a vortex, and what's spiraling out of the sun is photons, which basically
smallest particle of light now has a face.
Hold on. These photons basically lower in vibration, become physical, which make up your plants and everything. And we know this to be a fact because when they grow trees, scientists are trying to understand where trees come from, how a tree can manifest, because they plant a tree into, they measure the soil, plant a tree, and the tree grows. The tree grows into a gigantic tree. They pull the tree out of the soil and weigh the soil. That they notice the soil still weighs the same, but the tree, they're trying to understand where that comes from. Oh, it comes from the light. All right, the light. Just as light can manifest into a tree, light can also manifest into a demon and shapeshift within your physical realm. So all this shit they talking about, the shapeshifting, is this some hocus pocus bullshit? No. You can be possessed by a demon. I know, I personally went through it, but I'm just showing you the science that's actually behind this stuff, man. Hold on. And see right here, they're telling you, they're trying to find out where trees come from. And here is the documented experiments based on where trees come from. How does trees manifest into being this big ass tree? Obviously, it comes from the photons. Photons become electrons, which make up the tree. Simple shit, okay? Your frequency and vibration creates the form. Photon comes in, hits the earth lowers its frequency, it resonates at a certain frequency, and then forms into a physical matter tree. But everything physical is really energy. But here we go, let's break into that.
Trees are some of the biggest organisms on the planet. But where do they get that matter to grow?
It's nutrients out of the ground.
Just out of the soil, really, yeah.
Goodness out of the soil, I suppose.
Comes out of the soil.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Why isn't there a big hole around the tree where it's taken out all the soil?
Because it doesn't say gradually, but the soil has time to recover.
Now, I think it's intuitive to believe that the tree gets most of its mass from the soil, because you can see those roots digging into the soil, and they must be taking something out of there. And I mean, a tree looks like dirt, and it feels solid like dirt, but it's not. In the early 1600s, a scientist named Johann Baptista van Helmholtz tried to figure out where the mass of a tree was coming from. So he got a pot of soil and very carefully measured the amount of soil in there. Then he planted the tree and took care of it for 5 years, making sure that no soil left or was added to his pot. And at the end of this experiment, he weighed the tree to find that it was 72 kilograms, but the mass of soil had only decreased by about 60 grams. This was pretty strong evidence that the mass of the tree does not come from the soil.
I've never thought about that, actually, because they don't really eat anything, trees.
Okay, of course they're gonna make light of this shit, come up with some jokey, stupid shit. But yeah, where did the mass of that tree come from? It came from the light. Okay, where does a reptilian demonic entity shapeshift come from? It comes from the fucking light, man. All right, photons, orbs. All right, and orbs come through a vortex. And see, we're gonna walk into that. Hold on. Okay, see, this Malaysian airline flight 370 disappeared. Okay, hold on here. Okay, as they talk about right here, Malaysian Airlines flight 370, Malaysian airline flight 370 disappearance. Here we go. Malaysia Airlines flight vanishes with more than 200 people. Okay, watch MH370, the plane that disappeared. See, they're up here, come up with some bullshit as to why Malaysian Airlines flight 370 disappeared, but we know why the fucking flight disappeared, and we're going to show you. See, this plane disappeared through a vortex. Okay, a vortex opened up in the sky. Let's kind of walk over where the vortex is. Hold on. And here they are. This is a Norway spiral that they say is some mysterious spiral, but really what it is a vortex. And we're going to get into
Scientists from all over the world are trying to figure out what caused a mysterious blue light to spiral in the sky over Norway on Wednesday.
As UFO sightings go, this one was as good or as weird as it gets.
A light appearing high in the Arctic sky, baffling those who saw it and exciting a lot of comment. Early yesterday morning, just before dawn, this appeared in the Norwegian sky. A blue light, small at first, growing into a spiral, and then disappearing into what appeared to be a black hole.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a fucking black hole. It's a spiral. It's a vortex. And this is what Malaysian airline flight 370, this is what disappeared. This is why it disappeared. And what was following this flight, well, you're going to see as we continue. Here we go right here.
Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappeared on March 8th, 2014. On May 19th, about 9 weeks later, a leaked video was published to YouTube by a third party who claimed to have received it on March 12th. The video shows what appears to be a jet airliner on fire, being trailed by three spiraling
orbs.
Eventually, the three orbs change to a vertical pattern and disappear in a flash with the airliner.
Okay, now how did those orbs disappear with the airliner? Okay, those orbs went in through the vortex. And that's how those same fucking orbs got into this realm, through a vortex. Okay, photons or orbs. All right, let's continue.
Leaving a dead-end trail of smoke in the sky. A month later, on June 12th, a second video was published to the same channel that showed the exact same event taken from a different viewpoint. These videos have been deleted from YouTube, but can still be found on archive.org. Ashton Forbes and his team have been researching these videos extensively and have provided exhaustive evidence that these videos are legitimate, including digital forensics verified by CGI professionals, eyewitnesses, and government data. Forbes and his team have successfully addressed all debunker claims and have listed them for all to see on X.com at JustXAshton. So far, nobody has been able to debunk this research. Their research shows that the first leaked video was taken from a pair of American signals intelligence satellites known as USA-229. Twin satellites capable of creating 3D stereoscopic images by capturing two slightly different views. The twin USA-229 satellites are logged at the exact...
Okay, so they use government satellites to take that footage. They show the plane along with being trailed by three spiraling orbs, which are basically bigger forms of a photon, spiraling around this plane, going up through a fucking disappearing, which means it went up through a fucking vortex, man. Okay? Now, vortex. Hold on. A vortex is how you bring in the demon, and a vortex is how you kick a demon out. So you got to open up the vortex, man. All right? And you do that by pulsing Kundalini energy, mastering the Taoist secrets of love, man. Hold on. Okay, you gotta get this book, master the book, master how to draw sex energy up your spine to your third eye crown chakra, and you'll open up a vortex. Use certain sound frequencies, use mirrors, and you'll open up a vortex. Do not do this in your house, because you're going to destroy your house. You're going to open up a vortex in your house, and your shit's going to be disappearing out the cabinets, ending up in your washer and dryer. All your electronics is going to get fucking destroyed, because that's what happened to me. All right? I can testify to this. But I didn't realize what I was doing when I did what I did. I thought I was evicting, you know, I was practicing the side wheel, trying to make that side wheel levitate. I set mirrors up to try to increase the power of the, you know, increase the power of the energy. I wake up, my house is fucking destroyed. All right. I'm not gonna go into all the details. I was using certain frequencies. I was using mirrors, and I was pulsing Kundalini energy up and down my spine, making a vortex, making a side wheel spin, which basically opened up a vortex, and that vortex resonated with a outer vortex, a more powerful vortex, and I was able to access that power and end up destroying my house, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But now, you know, learning, you live and you learn. Okay, I was devastated at first, but now I realize, hey man, hey, I got that was necessary, because there was definitely a demon invasion in my neighborhood. All these fucking motherfuckers high on meth, and they be circling my fucking house, man. But after I opened that vortex, you know, motherfuckers be driving up and down the street all hours of the night. Neighbors be fucking blasting music 4 o'clock in the morning, doing all kinds of bizarre, crazy shit. These motherfuckers be drunk, blasting music for. As soon as I opened that vortex, man, all that shit ceased, man. It's like it cleared the whole goddamn neighborhood of these fucking demons, man. But yeah, man, you gotta know how to open up a vortex, but you gotta know how to control that goddamn vortex, because that vortex will fuck your house up, man. Not to say anything less, but where am I going for all this? Okay, this gets back into Trump. Okay, we have body snatch Trump using the same methods here. We take orbs that resonate with a certain frequency, latch them on to Trump, and then we can control Trump. We can basically body snatch Trump and control his actions, because, you know, Trump is technically a fucking clone. Okay, they got multiple versions of this Trump. So anyway, you know, now Trump is all of a sudden protecting these reptilians, protecting Epstein and the rest of these demonic forces, because obviously these demonic forces have reclaimed control of Donald Trump. Okay, and they're using Trump to cover up the fucking Epstein shit, which exposes the deep state, which are nothing but a bunch of fucking, which is basically a nest of fucking reptilians that house themselves in avatars, and they basically, these avatars are basically put in positions of power, and they fucking dictate policy of damn near every country on earth. And now they're coming out with the AI, artificial intelligence, and they're taking over the whole fucking planet, and they want to exterminate all you stupid motherfuckers. But we're gonna get into how, you know, this video is basically showing you how you can be possessed by a fucking demon, man. Okay, before I move on, like I said, this videos show you how you can be possessed by a demon, but you know, I'm giving you keys right here, Tao Secrets Love, of how to also evict a demon. Electrums, sun gazing, mastering Kundalini. Okay, you can bring in the spirit, you can evict the spirit. Okay, fasting, things of that sort. Okay, these are some of the keys on these are some of the tools you're going to need in order to do exorcisms. Okay, one of the main things you can do is boost out your electric field. Boost it out. And then that way, these demonic entities, you can force them out just by your presence. But you got to start taking those electrums, man. Okay? So, that said, we're going to move forward. All right, guys and goddesses, this gets into the creation of mankind, which is how you got your different races. And what happened was they took the energy from the quasar Osiris, channeled it through the pyramid, got the orbs. Hold on here. Okay, yeah, they got the orbs. And they funneled those orbs and impregnated Isis using light. They impregnated her with light. Hold on, man. Let's get into that. Okay, the impregnation, they call it parthenogenesis. Okay, can parthenogenesis be induced by light? Okay, parthenogenesis or virgin birth is a form of asexual production in which an embryo develops from an unfertilized egg. While it occurs naturally in some species, artificial parthenogenesis can be induced by various means, including physical and chemical stimuli. Specifically, ultraviolet light has been documented as a physical means of inducing parthenogenesis in eggs. Okay, so they can impregnate a woman with light, and as a result, you can create different races of humans. So what they were doing right here in Kemet, where they were channeling the light of Osiris, which comes through the penis, impregnated Isis, which is the black female, and they did this through abduction. What these guys do is they come down to abduct a black woman, and then they take their energy and impregnate her with it, because I think these reptilians come from the realm of Osiris or Set, one of the two, because those Set and Osiris were supposed to be the husbands to Isis. So I think they use both Set and Osiris. And when you get into the story of Set and Osiris, Set was supposed to impregnate Isis. Those are two quasars. Set jumps out of the Milky Way galaxy as a quasar, and instead of exchanging energy with Isis, which was the female quasar, instead of exchanging energy with Isis, it starts mating back with the mother galaxy and produced all these fucking corrupt orbs, okay, which I think our sun was from that. And then the sun was birthed from incestuous relationship from the quasar Set impregnating the mother galaxy, creating our sun. And then this energy of Set comes in and has sex with the sun, basically produces offspring for that. And this is where you get your fucking reptilians from. They're a corrupt race of being. True God of the universe, Amun-Ra, cut off this Set Typhon. His energy fell into Earth. So I think Earth is actually Set, because in the center of the Earth is a orb of light, is total energy. But anyway, as a result of this, okay, this is where you get your reptilians, all these demonic energies. Okay, and what happened was when the moon came in and bumped into the Earth, it knocked the Earth into a different cycle, which changed the frequency, which is why you can't see these reptilians, because we're operating at a different cycle, different frequency. Even though these reptilians still exist on Earth, they operate at a different frequency. So they can see you, but you can't see them, man. Okay, so, but it's through light is how they change the alter the genetic structure. And then what they was doing was they was taking animals, these insects, using parthenogenesis, using light. Hold on. As you see right here, this is Kepra, and you can see there's light. So what they were doing was they were channeling light, merging it with insects, and then you get shit like the Atacama humanoid. So you get something like the Atacama humanoid, where they would take the light, shine it onto an insect, and then verge that light. The light takes the genetic pattern of that insect, then they shine it on a pregnant woman or pregnant fetus. And then what happened was they might take the fetus out of the woman, shine the light on the fetus, and then they re-impregnate the woman, and she gives birth to a hybrid human, which is how all your different races were birthed. And we're going to kind of break into that. It's right here on the pyramids, winged sun disk of Ra. Okay, this is an orb, which is really a photon. You know, you got microscale photons all the way up to macroscale photons. The sun is a photon. Okay, and emits many photons. Hold on. Emits little tiny photons are emitted from the sun, which is a macroscale photon. The sun is a macroscale photon emitting microscale photons that hit the Earth and make up all your matter on the planet. Now, what these Elohim were doing was they was using the pyramids to channel in these orbs, and then they direct the orb, create like a chamber, direct the orb onto an animal, and then copy the DNA code of that animal and then shine it onto a fetus or to a pregnant woman, and she gives birth between the animal and the human, which is where you get your Sasquatch. It's where you get like insects like, here, let me give you an example. Let me kind of walk through. See, you got the turtle. This right here is a turtle. Okay. This turtle is a cross between the insect and the human. Let me see, we go images. This turtle is a cross between the insect and the human. And the way they created it was they took the DNA of a human, shined it on to an insect, and created this fucking turtle. Gave birth to this turtle. They do this by taking out the embryo from the female, then they shine the light, and then they grow it in tanks, kind of like a test tube baby. They grow it in tanks, and then they produce your terrestrial animals, and they create a male and female version of it, and then they let it roam the earth. And then they just did this with multiple different animals, because damn near all your animals come from insects. And so you see a turtle right here, and then you have where they created from. Okay, they created from a turtle beetle. Take human DNA, cross it in with this beetle right here, and you get an actual turtle. And a turtle is an endoskeleton animal, but it's also an exoskeleton animal. It has insects are exoskeleton, and human beings are endoskeleton. Okay. Now you see a turtle beetle, and you got, they did this with all the animals, man. Okay, you got rhino. There's a rhino here. So you got the rhinoceros right there. And then you can see what they created from this beetle. Okay? They created the rhinoceros from this damn thing. Right there. That's where a rhinoceros gets his horns and everything from. Right there. Right there. This is what they engineered a rhinoceros from. Damn near every insect, man. It's all done through channeling light, genetic engineering. Let me see, you got the giraffe. You see the giraffe right there. Giraffe eats leaves, just like beetles eat leaves. And then you have where they create this giraffe from. They create it from this thing, right there. Okay. This is what they genetically engineered giraffes from. Okay, beetles, insects. Okay. You can see it with the hummingbird. So you got a hummingbird. You got hummingbirds. See, that's a hummingbird. Little hummingbird. Okay, and this is what they created it from. This creature right here. A hummingbird moth. Okay. There it is right there. Hummingbird moth. Cross that in with human genetic, get a hummingbird. Okay? And birds lay eggs just like insects lay eggs. And then, you got your terrestrial animals. Some are mammals and some lay eggs. Turtles lay eggs. A rhinoceros is a mammal, so it gives birth like a human. But they created all life. The first forms of life come in as photons, as orbs, which are little minuscule orbs. And then certain resonance forms them into insects. That's why you can leave a piece of fruit around the house, and 2 days later you see these insects popping up the fuck out of nowhere. Okay, those insects was created from the light. And if you want to research, what's his name, Andrew Cross. Let's pull him up. Andrew. Excuse me for this. This guy right here, they were saying that he created insects, but if you study his experiments, he used lava rock, and he was using DC pulses and acid, and he would pulse the acid in these rocks, and then all of a sudden he will create these spiders. But I'm not going to get too deep into this, but they all use electromagnetism. They all use light. Electromagnetism is nothing but photons. Photons are orbs. Okay? The same orbs that you see on the winged sun disk of Ra, man. Take it back. Should get to it. Right here, winged sun disk of Ra, which is an orb, plain as day. Posted right there on the pyramids, because this is what they were using to create the different races on Earth. This is where the whole Osiris, Isis, Horus myth comes from. Horus is actually a different race. It was birthed from the womb of a black woman, Isis, impregnated by Osiris, which was a light from one of the quasars that they channeled in through the pyramids to impregnate a black woman to create a different race of humans, man. They practically created some white people from the genetics of Isis. They also merged it in with Set. Okay, Set is the corrupt orb that jumped out of the womb of the galaxy, started mating back with the mother galaxy, created incestuous orbs. Okay, so this is where all this pedophilia and all this bullshit is coming from, because the people that engage in pedophilia have the energy of Set. They're being operated by the orb of Set. They were created, by Yahweh, who see, Yahweh is representative of Osiris. So, they say Horus, they say Jesus and the Almighty Father, God, are one and the same. Okay, they're talking about Osiris was reincarnated through the womb of Isis into Horus. So the reincarnation of Osiris became Horus, which is a genetically modified human, which represents the energy of the Caucasian. I'm not sure about the Asian or the East Indian. The Native American Indians say that their spirit comes from Venus, from the energy of Venus. And Venus is an orb, just like all the planets in the solar system are orbs. They're just orbs that have been caught into material matter. And then you have your sun, which is an orb, which rotates around the Milky Way galaxy. And it was all birthed from the womb of the galaxy, of the Milky Way galaxy. So all photons are just minuscule orbs. You got some, which is a macro scale orb, gigantic orbs. So you got orbs in all shapes, sizes. And this is what they use. They're all soul, they're all conscious entities, and the energy of these entities can take part of your DNA. But, that's why, I always encourage people to sun gaze with the sun. The sun has been purified through the energy of Isis or Sirius, the Sirius star. And the Sirius star Sirius star is plugged back into the womb of the galaxy. So the way it works is the womb of the galaxy feeds energy to Sirius. Sirius feeds energy to our sun, which feeds our Earth. So sun gazing, when you stare into the sun, you're actually receiving the energy of Sirius, and Sirius gets his energy from Amun-Ra, which is the core of the Milky Way galaxy, which is why, you gotta purify yourself by going outside every day sun gazing. Okay, but yeah, man, they're channeling light, and we're gonna get into the genetic manipulation, their tactics on what they use to actually create different races, different breeds of animals, and all this kind of deal. So we're going to walk through that process. This is they use parthenogenesis, okay? I call this parthenogenesis, and they got a machine to actually, a parthenogenesis machine, and you're about to see it right now. Okay, here's an Asian Russian scientist, and he created this machine called the Biotron, and we're going to get into how you can use light to create different species of animals. Here we go.
Was called the Biotron, which he rebuilt in Russia when he settled in Khabarovsk city. Through his work, he came to the conclusion that DNA as the physical molecule is just something like a tape recorder of an actual electromagnetic biological information field or signal. So he sees two forms of the DNA. One is the passive molecular structure, that is the actual carrier and provides the stability.
Okay, notice this DNA spiraling around like a vortex, and then you got particles of light, photons, that actually orbit around the DNA spiral, just like the Milky Way galaxy. Hold on. Okay, as you see, these stars, which are orbs orbiting the Milky Way galaxy, is no different. The Milky Way galaxy is basically a DNA strand of DNA, a vortex. And you see the orbs you see the stars orbiting around the black hole, orbiting around the vortex. And this is exactly what the photons do around your DNA strand. They orbit around it, and then, they can latch onto your DNA, actually take form, and become you. Now, see, what's happening is this energy of Set, those orbs are affecting our planet, and they open it up with the CERN Hadron Collider, which is why they have Shiva as their emblem. Hold on here. See right here, they got statue of Snatcher at CERN, Switzerland. This is Shiva, the god of destruction, which is why they're trying to promote war and all this other shit. And with the COVID-19 vaccine, they alter your RNA code, so only God knows what kind of orbs, which is the spike protein, which is basically COVID-19, which is a fucking orb. Hold on, COVID-19. Let me see if we get some images of it. See, this is what they infected your genetic code with. These type of orbs, which is COVID-19, which is the coronavirus. Okay, that's a demonic, genetically engineered, demonic orb that they injected you with the COVID-19 vaccine, man. So, like when you take the vaccine, it's called COVID-19 shedding. So what you're doing is you're producing these orbs and spreading it out into the atmosphere. So you have to take those electrons and combat this shit. But yeah, what they're doing is they're bringing Shiva in basically as symbol of Shiva's the god of destruction. Hold on here. As it tells you right here, in Hinduism, Shiva is known as the god of destruction. But this destruction is not meant. See, they tried to gaslight you, man. See, this is why they're pushing World War III and all this other shit. These are these reptilians, and this is their fucking god Shiva, which is also Yahweh, But Yahweh is also the energy of Osiris, and we know Osiris and Set are brothers. So I guess they had, according to, if you believe what they say, they tell you that Set and Osiris are at war with one another. I beg to differ. They're brothers. I think they're working together. They represent, good cop, bad cop, but they still work for the same goddamn police force, man. They're enemies to the true God of the universe, because I think Osiris and Set were evicted. They were cut off, even though the Dogon tell you it was Set. But, if Osiris is Yahweh, then Osiris represents the energy of these reptilians. It's another form of a reptilian, but it's like a dictator. And it raped ISIS. So, I'm just looking at Mother Nature, and what they tell you these stories meant does not reflect Mother Nature, man. Okay, not in the least bit. But we're gonna get into that. And see, this is probably the reason why the Bible doesn't talk about Neanderthal DNA being in mankind, where the Sasquatch and Homo erectus and the Neanderthal come from. See, the Bible doesn't mention that, so they omitted a whole lot of information out the Bible, which is why you can't really trust what you read these days. You have to kind of look at Mother Nature and let Mother Nature tell you the story of what the fuck is really going on, and that's what I do. I pay attention to Mother Nature, man. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna get into the Elohim and how they created mankind, how they use light, merge genetics, and create different species. And see, that's what they did with the white race. They merged the genetic of this reptilian in with the genetic of Africans. Tweak the OCA2 gene so it can't resonate with the energy of Sirius or the sun, which ties back to the black hole. So that's the reason why they want to keep their bloodline pure and all that kind of shit, because they can't have Sirius energy, which is what black people and people of color primarily, we absorb the energy of Sirius. So if you mate with one of these white women or black women, get with a white man, the offspring of that can no longer be controlled by this fucking reptilian. They got to have pure white, blonde hair, blue-eyed or green-eyed humans, and they can control them, manifest within them a lot easier because they don't have melanin to absorb the energy of Sirius. I mean, that's basically what it is. But that doesn't mean white people in general are evil. It's just they're easily taken over by demons, man. So, you know, you have to boost out your energy field and ward the demon off this planet. That means everybody has to get on these electrons, man. You got to understand the science of alchemy, man, in order to defeat these motherfuckers. Because if you keep eating their food, you keep taking their drugs, taking their pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is the Greek etymology for sorcery. You keep fucking around with their sorcery, they're going to take over this planet, and then they're going to exterminate you with the energy of Shiva, which is what they're letting through the black hole, the orbs of Shiva. And these orbs come in and looking for hosts. So when you smoke opium, when you smoke fentanyl and smoke this genetically modified weed, and eat genetically modified food, okay, these orbs, you're resonating with these orbs, these demonic orbs, and they can take you over. It's you're being body snatched. So, you know, body snatching can go two ways, okay? But you have to evict this energy out of you. So, you know, electrons, fasting, sun gazing. That's how you do it, man. Okay, we're going to get into this.
Ability of the genetic material, while the other is the electromagnetic field of the information riding upon this carrier. While the molecule is extremely stable, it is possible to change and modulate the electromagnetic signal that is carried upon it.
See, they can change the electromagnetic signal that's carried upon your DNA, and this gets into shape-shifting, how these demons can inhabit a person and then shape-shift, okay? But the energy resonance of the earth has to be at a certain resonance, and when the energy starts picking up, then what's inhabiting these reptilians can't maintain human form. So they had to torture children and drink blood, drink adrenochrome in order to keep human form. Because the energy frequency is starting to change. This is why you have assholes like Bill Gates talking about he want to block out the sun, because Bill Gates is a fucking reptilian fucking demon. Plain and fucking simple. And he's one of those pedophiles on the Epstein list. And, you know, they're trying to keep all this shit covered because they don't want this whole reptilian agenda to get blown wide open, because that gives you a hint of what's really going on, and they don't want you fucking turning against the system, learning shit, which is why a nigga like me comes up, you know, master sorcery. Sorcery, just as you use sorcery for evil, you can use it for good, okay? If your enemy is using sorcery to attack you, you need a sorcery to protect yourself from the motherfucker that's attacking you, all right? So here we go.
The biotron works with microwave frequencies to read information from the DNA or the field of a living organism, directing it to another living organism. If the transfer process goes on for a period of time, certain genetic changes are taking place in the receptor organism.
And as you see right here, that's a chicken crossed in with a duck, genetically modified using light, using microwaves. See? Now, just as they can change the form of a species and create a different species, okay? This same light can act as a demon, because demons and ghosts are electromagnetic. They come in, invade your genetic code, and actually can live within you, access your genetic code, download all your memories, and actually become you, and it can actually shapeshift within you, genetically change, genetically modify, and through light, okay? So they can use that light to create a different species. They can also a demon can come in, invade you as light, and transform within you. Change your DNA and actually transform within you, and you turn into a fucking reptilian. Okay? Hold on, let's get into this.
First experiments he already carried out in China around 1961, where he placed a duck into the donor or transmitter side of the installation and placed the eggs of hens into the receiver side of the installation. After a period of this treatment of microwave radiation, the hen eggs were allowed to develop. The resulting chickens had features of a duck. They were altogether larger, they had a flatter beak, and they had membranes of skin between their digits, the webbing that ducks have. The second generation chickens, born from such treated animals, retained the genetic changes.
And this is the technology using light, channeling lights, how they create the different races on the planet, how they create the Sasquatch, the Neanderthal, how they create the turtle from an insect. Okay, they use Elohim DNA, cross it in with the fucking insects and create your terrestrial animals. Okay, this is how God created all living creatures on the earth, all walking creatures. Okay, but they confuse God, Amun-Ra, God of the galaxy, with Yahweh. Yahweh is not God of the galaxy. Yahweh is a fucking reptilian, child of Osiris, demonoid, dictator. Okay, so I think what it is you have the children of Osiris and the children of Set. They're all genetically modified, working together and enslaving the black race on this planet. And they all take their orders from Yahweh. Okay, now Yahweh either comes from the energy of Set or Osiris. And then you have the children, which is your Bantus, because, like Enki and Yahweh were brothers, and their father is Anu. And Anu had a human wife named Antu, and they birthed the Bantu. So based on that, the Bantu is part reptilian, part African. Okay? So, and they're the ones whose bloodline was they're the pharaonic bloodline because they're the children, because they're the descendants of Anu, who was the father of Yahweh. Okay, so you have those bloodlines that created Kemet at war, and then you have Marduk, who is, Marduk realized that his father or his grandfather raped his grandmother. And I guess he decided to go against, his grandfather or whoever the hell, Anu. And I guess Anu, I don't know if Anu and Yahweh went to war, or if Anu and Yahweh are working together and turned on Marduk. Because Marduk is the one that was leading the charge against Yahweh and built the Tower of Babel. I guess he built that tower to channel a different energy into the earth, and Yahweh didn't want that to happen, man, because Marduk was part of the from what I gather, he was the one merging the different races together, so that way he had the complete human, which has the bloodlines of all the quasars that shot out the womb of the galaxy. All the energy of the quasars got merged into one human, and this one human supersedes Yahweh's authority, and that one human is you, the African American, or anybody with mixed bloodline heritage. Okay, you now supersede the authority of Yahweh. So, that gets into the Dogon tribe, man. You see, before anyone of y'all people telling us, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. No. The Dogon tribe are merging bloodlines. They're getting all the bloodlines, everybody on the planet, and merging it in with their tribe, so they can become, so their descendants can become complete humans, so they can rule over Yahweh. See, hold on, we're gonna get into that. Okay, the Dogon are officially merging bloodlines. These are the Dogon elders, and these are the people that they're allowing into the tribe. Right there, boom, merged bloodlines, man, merged bloodlines. Okay, they're merging bloodlines, man. So this brother right here, he's a mixed bloodline. This brother right here is a mixed bloodline, and they're merging bloodlines in with the Dogon, so the Dogon offspring could be complete humans. All right, hold on. There you go, more of the Dogon merging bloodlines. See, these are their members. Take a look. Merged bloodline. I don't know if she's all the way white or not. Merged bloodline. Merged bloodline. See? Merged bloodline. Merged bloodline. Merged bloodline. Okay? This is what they're doing, man. They're merging bloodlines. Okay? To become complete humans. Merged bloodline. Merged bloodline. Okay? Now these people right here, brother like that, this is what the future humanity is going to look like. It has all the bloodlines, and this is the human being that now supersedes Yahweh. Is now the master of Yahweh. Because this human being right here has all the bloodlines of all the quasars. Okay? So you got to have, to be a complete human, you have to have all the bloodlines of all the quasars. And then you're a complete human, because that's what True God of the Universe originally wanted to create prior to Set jumping out of the womb, raping the mother galaxy to produce the sun, and then he raped the sun to produce all these corrupt orbs, which do all your pedophilia, child molestation. These corrupt orbs are what make up your reptilians, okay? And what the ancestors did was they took these corrupt orbs and put into an avatar, into a human body. I think Yahweh was the one behind that, because Yahweh used those orbs to enslave us here on earth. So now that we done merged bloodlines, now we are now the master of Yahweh, because we are still the descendants of Anu. And Anu is the father of Yahweh. The only reason why Yahweh got to be the chief ruler is because his mother is a pure Elohim or pure Anunnaki. Whereas his half-brother, Enki, he's half human. Enki's half human, half Elohim. And his son became, Marduk was the one that wanted rulership of the earth, felt like he's supposed to be the ruler of earth because his father is the firstborn. But because he's born of a human, you know what I'm saying? His mother was human, he doesn't get to be the ruler. When according to Elohim rules, the firstborn is supposed to be the human, but humans weren't considered to be part of the Anunnaki, man. They looked at us lower, but now we're their master. And Yahweh doesn't like that. So that's why, you've seen all this chaos and all this bullshit. Want to start World War III, these reptilians and all this other bullshit. So, we got to shut the shit down. And we're going to get into that, man. But yeah, man, you got to merge those bloodlines. Despite what anybody tells you, you got to get, if you're black, you got to get the energy of Osiris, the energy of Set mixed in with the energy of Isis. Black people come directly from Isis, which is Sirius. But Sirius is just Isis is just one of the quasars. Isis births Sirius. That's just one of the quasars. Okay, now that we done basically broke down the spiritual invasion of Earth, it's these corrupt orbs coming from the energy of Set, Osiris. See, I'm thinking Osiris is actually Set, but I'm gonna have to do more research into that. But I know Osiris is tied in with Yahweh, because Osiris later became Serapis. Serapis later became Jesus. That's Horus. But Serapis is also Zeus, which is Yahweh. Okay, so you have the Father and the Son. This is why you go to church. The Father is the Son is the Father. You know what I'm saying? Jesus is God, God is Jesus. You know what I'm saying? This is where all that bullshit is coming from. But because it's the same energy. So it's the energy of Osiris incarnating as a human being in the form of Horus, which later became your Jesus character. And all this was put in place by Constantine after an invasion into Kemet. They created the Serapis character, but Serapis was created from the energy of Osiris, which is a quasar. So they were channeling orbs from the quasar Osiris and putting it into, channeling through the pyramids. They get the orbs, and then they put the orbs and merged genetics with a black woman, and this produced your Christ figures, which are basically genetically modified humans. So that's pretty much what this is all about. And as a result of it, they create these humans to house Set Typhon. Well, they create the avatar to house the energy of Set. So the way it's looking is the spirits of Osiris were channeled and through the black woman to create your pharaohs. It's the spirit of Anu. Anu's Osiris goes into a black woman, and then you get your pharaohs, okay, who are supposed to be the mediator between the gods and humans. But these gods come down here, they take human wives and have offspring. These offspring become your pharaohs, okay. But it's also looking like what it's looking like to me is Anu had a human son, Enki. He also had an Elohim son in Yahweh. And it's looking like Yahweh went to war with Anu, defeated Anu, and took control of the earth, man. And I think it was Marduk and Anu and Enki that went to war with Yahweh. It's either that's the case or they're all in it together. But that was your Anunnaki council, man. You had Yahweh, and he had a half-human brother named Enki. Okay? So, these stories got twisted around. But they created an avatar, channeled the orbs of Set. Okay? Set was bounded here on Earth, so through the ley lines, they channel up the orbs of Set, house that into human body, and that's where you get your little Bill Gates, your Klaus Schwabs, your George Soros, who are a bunch of fucking pedophiles. Their energy got housed into a body, and Yahweh made them authority on earth. So there's some corruption going on here. I don't have all the details yet, but the details are coming. As I puzzle this information together, the details are coming. But whoever's running this earth is they're the ones facilitating these reptilians, these demonic entities. So there's the Osiris energy, and you got the Set energy. So I'm thinking the Osiris energy, which is your Yahweh, is the one controlling these fucking reptilians. So it's the people, you got the reptilians, and then you got the people that overlord over these reptilians. They put these reptilians' energy into human bodies to overlord on us humans, okay? And they do it through parthenogenesis. They do it through light. They do it through light, which is basically a spirit invasion. Is how they control these governments around the earth. They got their little avatars running the planet and being affected by demons, which is, the earth's energy field starting to change. So now these reptilians have to keep holding more child sacrifices. They have to do more child abduction, sex slavery. They need more adrenochrome to maintain their form, which is why you see this whole Jeffrey Epstein cover up, because Jeffrey Epstein is a fucking reptilian. Okay? A reptilian. And we're going to hear it from this lady right here. See this lady right here? Jeffrey Epstein victim responds to case being closed and reveals wild information about the island. Okay? This lady right here is going to tell you what the deal is, man. Hold on. We're going to get to that. Okay, right here, she says, Epstein told me he worked with the CIA. Okay, CIA is another organization, men in black, that facilitate these reptilians. They facilitate these fucking reptilians. They facilitate them by, these reptilians are underground and all these underground military bases, and they take human form, but because the Earth's energy is starting to, more energy is being kicked in through the black hole, they can't maintain their form, and they about to come out as full-blown reptilians. And we'll let this lady go ahead and break it down for you. Hold on. Let's get to it. Put this on pause. we're gonna get to it right now.
You know, so they're obviously hiding a lot. I used to speak to other victims. Unfortunately, we've all been kept apart. Virginia Giffer and I used to speak often. 2 years ago, I got a message from her saying, oh, she's not using her phone anymore. I can email her through her husband's email address. So we had a few communications there, but otherwise I haven't been able to be in touch with her. They've kept most of the victims apart. Also, everyone's got to remember that there were over 200 victims, many more actually, but these are the ones with evidence, the ones who were involved in the lawsuit. I would like to know where the other 200 victims are. You know, it's very, very frightening when girls are going missing as well. Like, I mean, for God's sake, sorry to say, but Virginia Giffer was found dead. Carolyn Adriano, who testified against Ghislaine Maxwell, was found dead. Ruslana, there are many. There are at least 7 Epstein victims that have been found dead so far. I'm too frightened to even leave my house, to be honest. And I'm sure that the victims in America are even more frightened. For me, I live in Africa.
Yeah, this woman's an Epstein victim. And she's breaking down the whole sex trafficking network. You know, how they got their little sex slaves, and you know, she's one of the victims. She's gonna break down, you know, her testimony, which has been backed up by Credo Mutwa, by the way.
So it's not as dangerous for me, you know, as other people speaking out against the FBI and the CIA, because they're all involved. Epstein told me he worked with the CIA. The FBI tried to get me there to interview me. They only wanted to interview me in person. They would not interview me over Zoom. They organized emergency visas for my son and I. They were arranging for us to be put in first-class flights, 5-star hotels, but my child's father wouldn't let us travel, so thank goodness, in fact, because a lot of weird stuff happened with a lot of the girls who were interviewed by the FBI. And it's very frightening, like I said, not just for the victims, but for everyone in the world, when we're all being lied.
See, the FBI is being run. I don't think he's being run by these reptilians. The reptilians are being controlled by the Osiris spirits, who are dictators. You know, they also house themselves as, you know, they have white avatars, and they oversee these fucking reptilians. But here, hold on, let's get into this.
Lied to like this.
If Epstein was just, do you think he was trying to get people to sleep with girls, or what do you think the angle was?
Well,
She's about to break it down for you.
As I've spoken about recently, I saw him shapeshift into something else in front of my eyes. You know, it looked like...
She says she saw Epstein shapeshift in front of her eyes. Epstein is a shapeshifter. Go ahead.
Sort of reptilian creature, like when I was in the bedroom when you took me there. And what I'm starting to realize is it was probably like an alien creature. And it's hard talking about this because a lot of people think it's crazy. And I would also think it was crazy. But unfortunately, I saw it. And also in New Mexico, I saw a UFO there. And then I woke up in a laboratory with people working on me. You know, 6 people in hazmat suits. Or I don't even know if there were people.
Did you get drugged?
I don't actually know. You know, they didn't allow any alcohol, drugs there, but they could have drugged me.
The government
There you go, man. Hold on.
ears Alex Jones.
Hold on. Let's kind of go back over that. That's about the 242 mark. Hold on. We're gonna pull that back up because it's hard to scroll back on this. We'll pull it back on it. Hold on.
Cover-up is a cover-up, you know. So
See if I can see. They ain't gonna let you scroll that. So I'm gonna put this on pause. Okay, we're gonna continue. Epstein is a fucking reptilian that they're protecting. So this is a reptilian network that's part of sex trafficking children, so they can torture them, sacrifice them, drink the blood, all that bullshit. Here we go.
Flights, 5-star hotels, but my child's father wouldn't let us travel, so thank goodness, in fact, because a lot of weird stuff happened with a lot of the girls who were interviewed by the FBI. And it's very frightening, like I said, not just for the victims, but for everyone in the world, when we're all being lied to like this.
If Epstein was just, do you think he was trying to get people to sleep with girls, or what do you think the angle was?
Well, as I've spoken about recently, I saw him shapeshift into something else in front of my eyes. You know, it looked like a sort of reptilian creature, like when I was in the bedroom when you took me there. What I'm starting to realize is it was probably like an alien creature. And it's hard talking about this because a lot of people think it's crazy. And I would also think it was crazy. But unfortunately, I saw it. And also in New Mexico, I saw a UFO there. And then I woke up in a laboratory with people working on me. You know, 6 people in hazmat suits, or I don't even know.
Okay, this woman right here is one of their little hybrids. They mind control, you know, so, you know, but she said she saw Epstein shapeshift into a fucking reptilian, which is why this shit's all of a sudden getting covered up. Okay, why Trump, he's obviously been hijacked by the fucking reptilians, body snatched, you know, which is why first he's going to release the Epstein files, and now he don't want to talk about it. See, there's a hijacking going on. You know, we hijack them, they hijack them back. We hijack them, they hijack them back. So, you know, so far, right as it stands right now, they successfully hijacked Trump, man. So, you know, you just have to be aware of what the fuck's going on with all this bullshit is all about. Just covering up these little fucking child molesters, blood drinkers. And, you know, when we had control of Trump, okay, that motherfucker was about to release those files, about to go after these motherfuckers, man. But, you know, Kash Patel and Bongino and all them, they're sitting there all scared, making up stories because I'm quite sure they saw something that freaked them out. And what they saw is what this woman right here is talking about. A reptilian, a demon. So, you know, they witnessed the demon. So now they're scrambling, don't know how to respond to it. And, you know, these motherfuckers have supreme, you know, technology. So, you know, that kind of lets you know who was actually building who's actually the one that set up Kemet, Atlantis, and all this other stuff. So, you know, there's people facilitating these fucking reptilians, and they use these reptilians to have control and all this other kind of shit. So, you know, the bottom line is you have to take down this network, man. Okay? We're going to go a little deeper into this, and then we're going to end this video. Okay, this woman right here is Carolyn Cabecas. I've demonstrated this in previous videos before my channel got erased. Let's get into Carolyn Cabecas. Okay, this right here is Carolyn Cabecas. Okay? Obvious, she's a fucking reptilian. Carolyn Cabecas is a German comedian and TV personality known for her satirical and feminist comedy. This is her right here, Carolyn Cabecas. Okay, she's a famous comedian. And here's her ass right here, shape-shifting. Okay, we're gonna go into that. See her eyes right there, shape-shift. And see right here, she's coming out of a vortex. See, that's a vortex, which represents your DNA. She's a light particle housing herself in the DNA and merging out as a fucking reptilian in human form. And here she is right here, shape-shifting. Take it back a little bit more. See right there.
This is a creepy video. This is coming from the original video. I mean, like I said this before, it's going to, let's just roll this again.
This is not taken out of her video and then edited.
Leute, fallt da bitte nicht drauf rein. Wenn ihr wisst, woher
There's a video of this woman. Her name is Carol. She's a German comedian and actress. This is coming from the original video. This is not an edit. This is not spliced out. This is not taken out of.
Okay, see what you're seeing here is, hold on, let's take it back. Right there. What you're seeing is, this is what runs your fucking earth. This is who the Trump administration, that's why he shut down the Epstein case. Epstein is a fucking reptilian. Okay? And the reptilians have now seized control of Trump. So Trump's now covering this shit up. Okay? We're trying to prevent World War III because that's these motherfuckers trying to start World War III. It's these motherfuckers here. And this is why the earth needs an exorcism. Okay? So, you niggas, master Taoist Secrets of Love, Masteries of Electrum, stay on this channel. Okay? Boost your energy field out. So we can ward these we got to make this environment so bad for these motherfuckers. Because you got their energy coming in from the center of the galaxy and it's affecting these motherfuckers. They can't maintain form. They're shape-shifting right before you. They're doing it every time you look up some fucking TV host or whatever the hell it is, shape-shifting on national TV. This woman did this on her own comedy show. And I went and pulled up her video off her Facebook page. It was like May 20th, 2020, I believe it was, or 2021, one of those years. You know, I pulled up the episode, I slowed it down. Sure enough, she shapeshifted. And these people are in every high position of government. That's your George Soros, that's your Klaus Schwab's. You know, you got two different factors at war. You know, I think it's the Osiris factor, and then you got the Set factor. But, I haven't broken down the hierarchy of this shit, but this is why you're seeing Trump behave like this, behave in the manner that he's behaving in. It's because we lost control of his avatar, and now something else is controlling it, which is why they're shutting down this Epstein case. They're covering up the fact that you got a nest of reptilians who are in high positions of government, dictating policy to us, trying to put us in World War III, giving you the COVID vaccine, trying to, put these demons on you. And we got to stop the influx of this shit. And in future videos, stay on my channel. We're gonna break this down. We got to start with that free energy device. We got to get that shit out there because see, free energy, you resonated at a certain frequency. You know what I'm saying? Just that building that device alone opens up vortex portals and creates havoc for these motherfuckers. And we're gonna break down the science, and block by block, we're gonna reclaim control of Earth. We're just gonna take the shit over, okay? And weed these motherfuckers up on out of here. So now you see what's really going on. I don't need to say anymore, because there she is right here, in real time. In real time, man. Right there. She's doing it right there in real time. Right there. This is what you niggas is up against. And this is what Akara, Spiritual Warrior 1, is at war with. That's it. God bless all you gods and goddesses. Peace.